Okay. We are live. One of my favorite people back at it again. Krista, are you ready to get nuts?
I'm ready to get nuts, Craig. I like that intro. You're
Okay.
ready to get nuts. It's funny.
Then, without further ado, on today's episode of Playing Small is Cancelled, we have a very exclusive treat. She's a superstar in the world of sales and marketing and a top 1% coach nationwide. Big facts. She's been recognized by the Wall Street Journal as one of the top 100 real estate agents in the US and has been in the top 1% of realtors for an impressive 19 years, helping agents and lenders dominate their markets. No big deal. She's also a multiple time best-selling author, and her digital marketing expertise has taken her coaching business from 0 to 59 million in just 6 years. Please welcome the charismatic, trailblazing, and innovative, the authentic, and powerful Krista Mashore. How you doing, Krista?
I'm good. How are you? Happy Thursday. I love Thursday. Thursday's my hump day.
I love Thursdays too. Why do you love Thursdays?
Because tomorrow's Friday.
Amen.
Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. Even though I work a lot on the weekends, but that's my choice.
Same, but work-life integration.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I still don't know what work-life balance is. Do you?
I mean, for me, I don't consider work to be work anymore because I like it so much. I actually have to really work on not working. Like, I'm the person where my husband says, I'm going to go race all day. I'm like, yeah, I get to work. So I need to work on that.
Isn't that such a blessing though? Like when you can't wait to get back at it.
Yeah. I really do enjoy it. It's kind of a sickness sometimes, I think. I don't know, but I really love working.
I think it's a blessing, not a curse.
Yeah. So.
And on that note, before we get warmed up, our community is a little familiar with you because we've collaborated before. But in case you're not, because there's a little bit of a new audience on LinkedIn, do a deep dive, play catch up, check out all the awesome stuff she's got going on. I have a little icebreaker for you. Are you ready for me?
I'm ready for you. And I don't know what it is, just so everybody knows. So
even better. How important is it for you to be connected to your mission?
I think in order for you to have a mission, if you're not connected, it'll never come to fruition, right? Like you have to have some, like there needs to just be more than making money. It has to be a lot deeper than that, I believe. And I think, different times in life, people are, we go through different phases. So there was one point in my life where making money was the most important thing because I had to keep my daughters in their home. Right. And then once you get past that level, then it's like, okay, now I want to sustain where I'm at so I can get to the next level. And then so there's different, I think, reasons in life where certain things are important to you. And so whatever that reason is, it's great. And as long as you have a really strong motivation to do it, I think it's important. But right now, my mission is different now than it was obviously, 20 years ago. Very, very different. And so obviously my connection to it is also different.
I love it. And I don't want to ask you the typical stuff. I want everybody to do a deep dive. But
okay.
Your story is unbelievable. And you're one of the best I've ever seen at handling adversity. I'm sure you have your moments, but when you're faced with a lot, and you have been in your personal story, I've heard you use the word desperation before, but you're able to convert that into fuel and for your expansion. How do you do that?
I think a lot of it is from desperation, right? Like you have to. Yeah, my story is a little bit, I definitely have a story. I can just get into really quickly, but sure. I haven't lived at home since I was 13 years old. Great family growing up. I sort of lived, it almost seemed like it was two different families where I had a very loving mother and father, great, went on vacations together and camping trips and all that. But then I also had a very abusive mother at the same time. And so when I turned 13, I started running away from home and then ended up in juvenile hall and then went to a group home for troubled girls and then ended up in a foster home. So I haven't lived at home since I was 13, which obviously caused a lot of, I would say, mental uncertainty and, lack of belief in self, lack of confidence. And so I've really had to choose to really own my mindset and the situation, circumstances that I was in. I had to really focus on what I was thinking about, how I would deal with it. And it really kind of created who I am, but it's still every day, not a struggle, but it's something that I'm always very aware of. And there's times when I have to work on it more than others, right? Like sometimes, you get in a spiral and you got to recognize it. So I think for me, one of the biggest things that I'm really good at, and I try to really help people with this, is just being aware. Like awareness, in fact, is my word for this year, awareness. And then opportunity is my other word. But really being aware of what you're thinking, aware of what you're saying to yourself, aware of your actions, like are your actions in alignment with where you want to go, and then aware of who you're surrounding yourself with. Like for me, those three things have really been, quite frankly, always what I've, without even really knowing, it's always been a huge aspect of what's made me, be able to get to where I'm at.
What an epic answer. And you and I have had some private talks. I think you know how important spirituality is to me. And another word, when I think of awareness, think of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people are kind of in this Walking Dead, like movie reenacting it, like they're just doing, checking in, plugging in, clock in, clock out, go to sleep, whatever the case may be. But to be able to identify the awareness, the conscious behind what you're doing, and then you can make proactive and intentional choices. And then
Absolutely.
you also use opportunities there. Anything that really occurs in your movie, you can frame and see an opportunity in it if you're looking for it, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, let me give this as the stupidest example, but I'm going to give you a really weird example. But like I got over the holiday, I ended up getting shingles. And I don't know if you know what shingles is, but it's very debilitating. I mean, it hurts so bad.
Oh,
and I was like, okay, this is happening to me because I need to slow down. Like this happened to me because I need to just slow down a little bit. And God is telling me to chill a little bit, like and he was stabbing me. He was like literally stabbing me, because singles feel like you're getting stabbed, by a million deaths, right?
Oh, man.
But like even things like that, I always try to go, okay, this is happening because of that. I always try to find the good in every situation, even when sometimes it's not bad. There's another thing that just happened recently, and I've already forgotten, because I have a really good ability of forgetting negative things. Like things happen, and then people are like, remember that thing that happened? I'm like, no. And they're like, Krista, so my brain, and it isn't because, like, a lot of people will say that you forget things from trauma and your brain does it to help you. Yeah. I just forget things that were negative and just kind of go past them. And I think that happens to me a lot.
Yeah, better off. I mean, yeah, that's a superpower right there, actually.
My superpower is mindset. So mindset is my superpower. People will tell you that. Like, that's my superpower. Yes.
And what I love is mindset is a muscle that anybody could flex. And I've heard you say multiple times, and I want to reinforce it. I think it's beautiful. Is mindset more important than skill set? Is that right?
Absolutely. And I wrote a book a couple years ago, 2 years ago. It was called Stop, Snap, and Switch. And it's all about like how you have all these thoughts every single day, and how, most of those thoughts are negative and repetitive. And as I was writing that book, I was trying to find a different name than mindset, because I feel like mindset's very overrated, right? People always say, you got to have a good mindset. And so I was researching another word to use instead of mindset, because I think people hear it and they just kind of tune out, but there's not another word. There's not another word to use. And I will tell you that you cannot be successful in life. I mean, so many people want to be successful, and they want to make a lot of money, and they want to have financial freedom, and they want to have financial security. And you cannot, in most cases, have that without a good mindset. And even for those people that actually do achieve that without the right mindset, they aren't happy with it all, right? So for me, mindset has always been, and I'm telling you, sometimes it's like a tug of war. I always say, I personally feel like I have two people inside of me. I've got this badass multi-million-dollar, woman that has built multiple million-dollar businesses from scratch. And then I have this other part of me that's like, oh, you're not good enough, or like the doubting side of me. I call it like the good wolf and the bad wolf that's constantly at battle. And I have to always be battling to have the good wolf win, right? And it does, because it's a constant awareness and a constant practice of it. And it gets easier and easier over time. But I believe that if you really are aware of what you're saying, aware of what you're thinking, aware of who you're surrounding yourself with, aware of your actions that are alignment with your thinking, that you can really achieve anything, including just things that you thought were never possible. And also you can do the opposite, which is, just like ruin your life based upon it. And it's just from what you think.
Beautiful. In the Wisdom of Quality, we call it the opponent. I know Hollywood's done a great job of presenting the devil as like horns in the cave, but really it's in our mind.
Yeah.
And everybody deals with it differently, but it's a negative force with a positive purpose. If we become aware of it and then overcome it and not succumb to the temptation, then there's nothing that we can't do. But you have to identify it first and realize this isn't really me. This is the ego or the opponent, whatever the case may be. And then we can overcome it. And then someone could essentially become, mentally bulletproof like you, but it takes work.
Yeah. And I'm not mentally bulletproof. I mean, I'm not like, but I mean, I'm very aware of it, and I know like everything. It's just, I'm in control. Like nobody's coming to save me. Nobody's going to do it for me. I have to do all the things. And I mean, God, just like for everyone else, this year's been one of the most challenging years of my business, right? Like my main avatar is real estate agents. Real estate agents are, I left my very successful, multi-million-dollar a year real estate career to teach real estate agents and to teach them marketing and different techniques and strategies to dominate their areas. And it was hard to start. And then we had a couple great years. Well, the past 4 years for realtors has been difficult, right? Interest rates are insane. The economy itself has been hard. This has been a crazy year. Wars, the election. I mean, people have just been out of their minds, right? Sure. And I've seen so many different types of businesses struggle. The avatar is struggling more than probably most any other industry right now. And so it's been a tough year for me too. And as I'm going through these challenges, my mind is telling me, man, something is really good on the other side. Like something is going to be, is like you're on the verge of something so good, because that is why you're going through all of these challenges and all these setbacks, right? So, and I say that because I think that people see people that are successful, and we talk about mindset and how great everything is. And it's not like you're always that way, Craig, right? I mean, I have to still work at it, and I'm freaking probably one of the best, most positively energetic people that you'll meet. And it's still something I have to be very aware of.
It never goes away. You just get better tools to deal with it. In fact, the closer you get to the castle, like the more light you're about to reveal, typically the bigger the obstacle. So I always like to tell like my students, be flattered by your challenges, because that means you're on the cusp of something great, but you got to know how to handle it, navigate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yes, true.
You've dominated a couple of different industries. It's very impressive. What can someone do now in 2025 to really stand out?
So I'm going to say that everybody already knows, right? And probably one of the hardest things to do, in fact, even for myself, and that is just to really build your brand, right? And I think I can give a couple really great ways of doing that, because it's something that I've done with multiple businesses that have helped them, be very successful. And how I have done it is, well, number one, being very authentic, right? Like just being yourself. And, I think now, Craig, more than ever, people so appreciate just authenticity and being real, and not, living behind the screen or the phone, but just being yourself, but building a brand. And I think that I know the easiest and the hardest way to do it is through social media. Everyone always says like, it's never been easier to get attention. So it's never been harder, because there's attention everywhere. So how I've done it is I have chosen a platform. And so I suggest this to everyone, is to pick a platform. The platform that I believe is still the strongest is Facebook. I think Facebook is one of the strongest platforms to build a brand on. And if you look at all the big marketers, they're all on there. There's a reason why people will talk about YouTube on Facebook and run ads on Facebook about YouTube and about all these other platforms, is because Facebook is the biggest platform, and what they're doing is insane. So how I built my brand was creating video content, really identifying who my avatar is, like what they really want and desire and what's keeping them from getting there. And then just creating content and video, but then putting a budget behind it. So in other words, instead of buying a cup of coffee for the day or spending, $20 on a bottle of wine for 3 days, I would take that money and just put it towards creating content and running, $5 a day ads. And then increasingly making it more of putting my content in front of people so that they are forced to see it, right? And sort of kind of like getting people to stop the scroll and showing up in their feeds. It's been one of the best ways for me to build my brand. As a real estate agent, as a real estate coach, as a digital marketer, and it's been phenomenal for me. So I think that building a brand, being very authentic is going to be the keys to the kingdom. It has been for many years, but I think now it's not a matter of, I should do this. It's been for years and years. It's an absolute must. And I believe the easiest, best way is to create video content, put an ad spend behind it, target your market, make sure they keep seeing you, say no to the coffee and wine, put that money towards an ad spend.
So I imagine there's a couple people thinking right now, if they're saving some money on that stuff, is that enough to get it going with some of the ads and so forth? And then also, before you enter that, two-part question, this one's really for me. It's not just putting yourself out there. You actually have to create good content, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And consistently. Right. And so that's I have a client avatar bot. So if you want, what I'll do is I'll give you my client avatar bot. So basically we created my team created we're super high into artificial intelligence right now. So we created a bot, which is like teaches you how to, and it's free. I mean, I won't even know who's using it. It's just, since I'm not giving this to you, like, there's no hidden agenda other than like, once you really learn who your avatar is. So like, I mean, for example, I was a real estate agent, right? For 19 years, sold 2,300 homes. I can understand a real estate agent like no one else, right? So when I decided to go out there and start coaching, I coached my avatar, my client, ideal client was real estate agents because I knew them. So I was able to speak directly to them, speak to what they wanted, speak to their pain, speak to what they were going through, speak to exactly what they needed to do. And because I niched down very specifically to who I was going after, it made it not easy, but it was much faster. So I think what a lot of people do, so the ideal avatar bot that I made will help people with that, right? So when I first started, they didn't have ChatGPT, they didn't have AI, they didn't have any of that stuff, but I understood my clients so well that I was able to speak directly to them. And I spoke to them in a very prolific manner, meaning I would say things that they would think I was crazy. Like, for example, I'd say open houses absolutely suck. And if you're doing them, like, you are wasting your money. And people would be like, you're an idiot. Like, wait, you're so stupid. You know, like, I mean, I would create like, I would purposely say things that I knew was true, but they were so like robotically going through life, being trained to do things that they've been told. And because I understood them so well, and I was able to really dominate my business as a real estate agent, doing things completely opposite of what they had been taught, I was able to, reach them. So I created good content, wasn't afraid of putting myself out there, wasn't afraid of being like belittled and berated because I was like crazy. And of course you don't like it, but I'm like, oh, they're talking about me. This is good. That means I'm hitting a chord, and we'll still get a bunch of haters, but then I know that's good because now it's the algorithm's moving because they're talking about me, talking to me, so it's making the algorithm work. But you got to create content that speaks to somebody. It doesn't mean when you say good content, Craig, I don't know about you, but it doesn't mean it has to be this over, edited version of what you're doing. It doesn't need to be polished. It just needs to speak directly to them. So talk to one person. This is so difficult for people to understand. Like, they think they want to talk to everybody, right? They feel like if I just go after women, I'm missing all the men. Or if I just pick a specific age group from like 35 to 45, I'll give you an example. And sorry if I'm talking too much, but
I love it. Don't stop.
Her name is Dr. Mindy. And she actually, I'm going to age myself right now, but she helps women like going through menopause, and she teaches them. So her avatar is like 45, like 40 to like 50, 55-year-old women, like women 40 to 55 going through menopause, like trying to lose weight. She is freaking like, has been blowing up because she speaks directly to the massive problems that women are going through. Their hot flashes, night sweats, weight gain, belly fat, like brain fog. It's like, hell yeah, that's me. Like, oh my gosh. So she comes on and, you're listening to her because you're going through that. So everybody listening to this has maybe it's ED, is erectile dysfunction. I don't know. Maybe it's like hair loss. Maybe it's somebody going through a divorce, like men going through a divorce, or men having children, trying to date again. I mean, I'm just using example because you're a guy. So maybe it's somebody like, that's a Christian teenager or somebody in college that's trying to navigate Christianity and living the college life. I mean, everybody has an avatar where somebody can be like, that's me. And with 8 billion people on the earth, there are a substantial amount of people going through the same thing at the same time in a very specific small niche. And the smaller the niche, the better you will do.
100%. You got to speak to somebody. Like, you have to be intentional.
Very much. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely love this. And when you do that and you're consistent with it, I imagine you begin to build momentum and brand authority, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Brand authority. Mm-hmm. And so, and like people, that's what I did. I just started talking, and then you can eventually expand. Like, let me give you another example. So I recently was trying to, so I've done, for about 4 years in a row, we had done like multiple $1 million months, right? Like there was this process that we had, and we'd do a 3-day event.
Business?
In my real estate business. So Now, like there was months where we would do like 1.8 million or 1.4 million or 1.3 million, but we were averaging like, three and a half years in a row, 3 years, let's just say 3 years, because the past year's been harder, but over $1 million a month. And so I'd gotten approached by several people. Will you teach me your model? And I'm like, yeah, I can. So I helped several different entrepreneurs in all different niches, basically follow my blueprint. And they had just like record days, record months. I'm actually being flown next week on the 15th to go help a guy that teaches that's doing the model with financial planning. But my point is that I was then trying to veer off of my real estate realm and go into the like entrepreneurial realm of virtual events. And yes, it was working, but because I was like deviating who my avatar was, right? So now I'm like trying to create content about these virtual events and trying to speak to every entrepreneur out there and not just speaking to real estate agents. I failed, I helped these people, but I couldn't run personally 2 different businesses because I had to create double content, double TikTok, double YouTube, double everything. And as I'm trying to build this other business, my other business started to go down a little bit more on top of it's just being a hellish of a year for real estate agents. Even though I knew what I was doing, I was damn good at it. I could help people, but I was not niched down enough. Right. And because of that, it was not nearly as successful as it was when I was speaking just to one avatar.
It wasn't connecting like it could.
Yeah, it's impossible. It's like, think about it, running a Facebook ad. Okay. It's like, hey, are you, a dentist, a doctor, an attorney, a lawyer, a financial advisor? Well, I got this model that will work for you. And people are like, but when I'm creating content, like, are you a real estate agent? And right now you want listings more than ever. But right now there is like no inventory out there. Sellers don't want to sell because they've locked in an interest rate of like 3%, down to 6%. How do you get sellers to sell? It's like, oh my God, that's me, right? Like that's me. I can't do that when I have 57 different niches or people that I'm speaking to. So your quickest way to really dominate any industry is to pick a client, an ideal client that you know a lot about, or it's an experience that you've gone through for a specific type of person that you can speak to with a lot of authority and truly give them help and advice. And then make sure that you're doing that content consistently, input equals output, and that they're actually seeing it. So spend some money on getting that information behind them, because when organic content is great. I love TikTok. I love YouTube, but it's very difficult to start organically. And so that's why I've always kind of given myself a competitive advantage by putting an ad spend behind making sure the content gets out there, developing an audience that way, demanding the attention because they keep seeing me. And then from there, taking it to another platform. Right? Like starting with one, paying it, getting an audience, getting known, and then going to another platform that's more organic.
Beautiful. Demanding their attention. I like the way you said that.
Well, they can't help but see you, right? Because you're paying for it. So you're showing up in their feed.
I love this because I could ask you so many different things, mindset or either the 2 industries that you've dominated. But I did want to ask you this because we do have a lot of realtors in our community and so forth. And I think I saw you post that about 87% of real estate agents actually fail in the first 5 years. And I'm wondering,
I think it's way more than that now. That
Really?
that has been the same stat since I got in the industry, and it's way worse than that. In fact, there was just a stat, and I don't know where it's from, but it's true. I just don't know how to like say where it came from. But 77% of mortgage loan officers did not renew their license this year, like the past 12 months. 77%. Now, real estate agents are in the same. Like there's probably about a third, even less than a third. So there's probably about a fifth, like. One from every 1 realtor, for every 5 realtors, there's 1 lender ish, right? But 77% of mortgage loan officers didn't renew their license. So a lot of real estate agents didn't either. Okay. NAR is saying it's like 3% or some crap like that. I know it's way more. Like I know they're underestimating what it is. It's a lot because it is very competitive. But here's what I will say. And I believe this, like, I know this to be true. Like people will say it's so competitive in real estate. And I'm like, it's so competitive that it's the easiest career to stand out because everyone else is doing the same thing. So all these realtors are talking about just listed, just sold, I'm so great, like these cheesy little things, and they're making everything about them. If they would learn to get in front of their communities, okay, and this is a great example. I love that you said about being expensive, and this is where I meant to say, and I got sidetracked. But when you are a business or like any type of professional, like you're going national. Okay, Craig. So, like you have a national audience. And so for you to create content or run an ad, I spend $150,000, $120,000, $170,000 a month on Facebook ads because I'm going after real estate agents nationally, real estate agents across the United States. So for every dollar that I spend is like a million times, takes me $1 million more than it would locally. When an agent spends, you know, $200 to $500 a month locally to get their content and their face, and this is the same for real estate agents, financial advisors, doctors, dentists, attorneys, a hairstylist, any type of local business, right? Somebody, window washers, I mean, gardeners, landscape, anybody that's local. My husband owns a car business. If you spend, you know, $250, $500 a month creating content and running a Facebook ad locally, like we will spend $200. Like, listen to this, you're going to crap your brains. $200 will get us anywhere from 200 to like 600 hours of watch time on a 30 to 60 second video. So I'll create a video about selling or buying locally. And this is how I dominated market as an agent. And this is what I teach agents how to do. And you'll do community related content, information about selling or buying, information like about a local business. And then you create a video on it and you run it locally. You get thousands, like 150,000 engagements, like hundreds of hours of watch time because you're doing it locally. And so your money just goes so much further. So it's so simple to develop a brand. So this is my answer to your first question. Okay. So the best way for you to, the best advice I could give anybody to build a brand and make a ton of money in 12 months from now is to commit to find a way to at least spend $250 locally. This is for local businesses, anything local, right? Within like a 30 or 60 mile radius of you, for you to create content, commit to spending $250. If you have more, do more of taking that content and running paid ads locally and putting that content in front of your avatar. If you do that for 12 months, you will have a completely different business in 12 months. I can't say guarantee it, but I will guarantee it. Can't guarantee it, but you will.
What does a local ad look like?
So it's like you're doing a 15-mile radius. So with real estate agents, it's different because it's called a special ad audience because of all the RESPA and HUD violations. They have to do a 15-mile radius. But like any local business can target a certain area. You can literally take a map and say, I want to target this area right here, right? And so you can say this exact zip code, this exact city, a 30-mile radius, let's just say in Los Angeles, is way too big because it's just like, it's so huge, right? You're reaching millions and millions of people. But if you did like a specific neighborhood or community in Los Angeles where like you want to dominate, you want to be the number one donut shop in town or the number one, hair salon in town or the number one, mortgage officer in town, you would pick, mortgage can't do it, but you'd pick a smaller area because you're still reaching a lot of people. And that's where you would have your content be seen.
This is unbelievable. This is an 8-figure conversation for anyone that's willing to apply it.
It really is. Yeah. That's how I made 8 figures in doing that. That's that way.
I know. It's amazing. Yeah. I wanted to ask you, you're one of the best at this as well. And this is a universal language everybody would like to improve upon, whether they want to admit it or not. How can one become more effective at sales?
I love sales. Yes, that sales is my jam. So
I know it is.
Yeah. So I've been selling high ticket for, it's been 24 years now. So as a real estate agent, you're selling high ticket. My coaching program for the past 6 years has been high ticket, $24,000 coaching program. And the best way to sell high ticket is to win before you arrive. And what that means is it's just like, I'll use it as an example that will apply to most people here. So, and I'll just use a real estate example because that's the easiest for me to do. So I know as a real estate agent that I wanted to win and be great at sales, and I had to be able to develop a relationship with my audience through what I just told you, right? Through creating content that's very valuable, that speaks directly to a problem the consumer's having, and answer that problem through my content. And then make sure that they're seeing it over and over again. And if I do an ad, let's just say about selling, I want to make sure that I'm targeting people that are watching content about selling, and then I'm retargeting more information about that same topic. So if you're talking about X, fill in the blank, whatever your profession is, and then somebody watches that content, then you say, okay, now I want you to watch the next content. Okay. And I don't want to ask them to do anything. Don't make them download. You just want them to watch. And then as they're watching and you continue to give them high value about the same thing you originally wrote content on, then you can say, great, now you have the ability to click. Do you want to click or download? Right? Because the cost to acquire a customer now is so super, super expensive. So you don't want to run an ad where it's like a conversion ad or a lead gen ad originally. You want to be able to just high value content where they're watching. And most consumers, I know I'm kind of going back and just give me a second. Do it the opposite. They say, I want to run a lead gen ad. I want to get a lead. But the cost per lead, the cost to acquire a customer is like the CPM has gone up. The CPC has gone up. Every single metric and target over the past like 7 years since I've started coaching, 6 years, has like 20x. You know, what used to take me $3 to acquire a customer now is like 37. Okay. So it's almost, you cannot do that anymore. So this first step is creating valuable content. Okay. And getting someone to know you, like you, and trust you, see you as the authority and feel comfortable with you before you even walk through the front door. So now somebody raises their hand and says, I want to meet with you. How you win the sale is before you even show up. Like as a real estate agent, I would drop off. Let me just show you. Hold on. This is going fast. Did you have a video? Get me on the roll.
You're on fire.
Somebody would, this is how you win the sale. Somebody would say, hey, do you want to, I want to meet with you. And I'd be like, great. So then I would drop off this box, right? And in this box would have the QR code. The QR code would drive them to a funnel, which obviously I know something about funnels because we've got like a zillion of them. So you drive them to a funnel, and then the funnel would have tons of information. And then inside the box, I would have like, you know, stuff that I've done before in the past. I have a whole, you know, awesome, cool thing. I have a book in here. I've got a marketing plan in here. I have all this information before I even get there. So I'm trying to win the sale before I even show up to the front door. And this is like any kind of appointment. And then once I'm in front of that person, he who has the most conviction wins the debate. You have to be so like kind of like I'm talking right now. Like you can tell like, oh my gosh, I know what I'm talking about. I'm excited about it. I'm not wavering. I know my material. Like I know that if you have more conviction, if they already feel like they know you, if you do these extra steps before you even are in front of them, you will win, right? So win before you get there. And when you get there, you have to take control. You have to be confident and just like speak with absolute authority and certainty and do not waver. When you go to a doctor's appointment, right, you're not going to be like, well, do you think I should, you know, like, you know, maybe you should do this, you know, Craig, or no, maybe this, Craig. I mean, whatever you think, Craig, like, I mean, if you'd like to take penicillin, that's fine. I mean, but, or maybe no, they're like, this is what you need. This is what you're going to take it. Here's the prescription. I'll see you in 5-7 days. Make sure that you do this. You have to come across the same way. And then also you have to be very authentic. So I think a lot of superpower for a lot of people, including me, is just being very much you. Like, be yourself. Do not try to be somebody else. Be like, make mistakes, say the wrong thing. Like, nobody cares. And I think that's really, you know, it really, really helps in sales.
It's so funny because I agree that authenticity is a superpower. First, I love everything that you said, especially winning before you even show up and get there. But so many people are, and I know from experience, because it took me a little while longer than I like to admit when I reinvented myself from Wall Street to what I'm doing now. But it could be scary to be yourself because then there's the fear of judgment. But interestingly enough, one of the most spiritual things that we can actually do is be ourselves. And that's when you give people the opportunity, the right people, to gravitate towards the real you. And like you said, if you mess up, if you stutter, that's okay. It's charming, for lack of a word. Nobody really connects with someone that is perfect, like Superman.
Oh, no. Especially when you're in a place of authority. Like, people are already intimidated, you know? So if you think about, I mean, even let's just take you, for example, okay? So people are seeing you on this podcast and you're doing all these cool things. And so people look at you and they think, oh my gosh, Craig, you know, he's successful because he's got this podcast and he's interviewing these cool people like Krista, or, you know, he's just doing all these cool things. I can't do what Craig does because Craig is up here and I'm down here. That's what their assumption is that you're different. And they use that as an excuse to think that they can't do the things you're doing because they aren't you. Right. And so the more that you can just be yourself and humble it down and just be normal. And everybody that's like that. I mean, think about when you, like, if there's ever someone that you've wanted to meet that maybe you were excited about meeting and, you know, and you got really nervous and you felt a little bit like that's how people can be with even a professional, right? Somebody that they respect and they think can hold authority. So the more that you can just be yourself, it will just help, you know, and you can't really develop a relationship with somebody because what you're trying to do, Craig, is you're trying to develop what's called a parasocial relationship. And what that means is you're developing a one-sided relationship with somebody on the other side of a screen. Okay. Before you meet them, it's just like when you watch television, like your audience thinks that they know you. You're a great example to use, right? When you meet somebody that's been following you, watching you, listening to you, maybe you're at an event or something and they're like, oh my God, Craig. And they're like talking to you and they want to hug you and they want to take pictures with you because they feel like they know you. Right? Because they've developed this relationship with you. That's a parasocial relationship. That's the same thing as when somebody watches TV and they cry for the good guy and they root for the good guy and they hate the bad guy. And they're like, they develop this emotional connection with the character. That's exactly what's happening when people are watching you. So if you have this character that's an a-hole or that seems like they're so far off of reach of humanity and it doesn't seem like something anybody else can reach, it's difficult to sell or develop that connection with.
Beautiful. Could not agree more. This is amazing. We have to do so many more things together. Before we hop off today, I wanted to ask you, with all the different pies that you have your fingers in, what are you most jazzed about right now? What are you most pumped up about?
Well, I'm writing a book right now called Thrive, and it's just like I call it, I say 60 seconds. It's supposed to be 6 times a day, but nobody will do 6 times. Like 60 seconds, 6 days for 6 years, we hit 60 million. And it's just by doing this activity called Thrive, which is like, as often as you can, like first thing in the morning. And again, just take 60 seconds, but the T stands for giving thanks. The H is for helpful to self and helpful to others. The I is reminding yourself that R is reminding yourself that you're resourceful, you're resilient, you have everything you need to be successful. The I is like an I am statement. And then like inhale and breathe. The V is visualizing the I am statement or visualizing yourself doing what you're trying to achieve. And the E is like energy, having energy around it, excitement around it, and expecting it to happen. And then,
It's an acronym.
It's an acronym, yeah. It's an acronym of something you just do and the idea is to try to do it multiple times a day because every single thing on Thrive, when I wrote the book, Stop, Snap, and Switch, it was like I was learning all these things from doctors and research about the brain. Yep. And all of the things on Thrive are there to help you succeed, be more successful, be happier, get more done, be more efficient and proficient in every aspect of your life. So I came up with this acronym called Thrive. So I'm writing a book on it. I have an app being made right now, and I'm stoked about it.
I love it. Real quickly, what's your process when you begin to write a book?
Well, I have a great editor because she makes me sound really smart. So she'll interview me and she'll literally we'll do like hours and hours of, every week she'll ask me every question in the book and I'll just like, bah, 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 bah. And then she'll go and make me sound smart.
You are smart, but maybe she helps you articulate.
I can't put my brain together. I'm like, and then she always tells me, you know more than you think you do, Krista. Because I'm like, I don't know how to write a book on this. And she drags it out of me. So that's Krista, the process. And she's
I love it. You're so badass and so multifaceted. And a word that comes to mind is you're very brave.
Oh, wow. No, thank you.
Your ability to step into new things. And even though I imagine at times you might feel some insecurities or doubt, you do it.
Sure.
And I think that's so admirable. For our community, where's the best place for them to maybe keep up, stick around, and see what
just look my name, Krista Mashore, Krista Mashore. Just look me up and find me on socials. I love helping women with leadership and women learn how to make money and really have true financial freedom, like inner freedom and also financial freedom. That's kind of like one of my main goals for over the next couple of years. So
beautiful. Before we hop off, 30 seconds of rapid fire, 1 or 2 word answers. Are you ready for me?
Yes, but I don't know if this is going to be even. So yes, I suck at this though. I suck at this. Okay, let's go.
You're going to do great. Your favorite movie?
The Notebook.
Your last meal on earth would be?
Lasagna.
Oof, great one.
yeah, I make great lasagna too.
Your favorite guilty pleasure?
Watching Netflix all day on a Sunday.
Beautiful. Favorite workout?
Just doing it every day.
Great.
5 days a week.
Your favorite book?
Oh my gosh. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Can't go wrong. Your favorite musician?
Gosh, I don't really have one. I like Lifehouse.
Okay. And last but not least, your favorite morning ritual essential?
Just getting up as soon as my alarm goes off, and then thriving like in bed before I get up.
So no snooze.
Oh no. Oh my gosh. You can never snooze. You know that delayed reaction, once you delay one thing, even by hitting the snooze button, it creates delay there's this huge study about it. Like you hit this just by hitting the snooze button, and everyone's hitting the snooze button in their life all the time. It creates like everybody wants immediate gratification, but the more that you like delay things, delayed gratification is actually good, but not when it comes to like something like waking up, right? Like we have to learn to have delayed gratification when it comes to like goals, but we cannot delay gratification for things like that. So you have to take immediate, that alarm goes off, you want to make sure that you immediately get up, because if you just by hitting that alarm, there's a lot of research that shows that you are going to do that for the rest of the day for other things.
Yeah.
Don't hit the snooze button.
Bottom line, there's a lot of spirituality behind what you just said too.
I
Don't be reactive to the fact that you might be a little tired in that moment. Get uncomfortable, 5 minutes, you'll be fine, and then set the tone for the day.
So true. Mm-hmm.
Krista, this was amazing. Hang up for 1 sec. I could personally guarantee that your best is yet to come. Thank you so much for stopping by today and dropping these priceless, juicy nuggets.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. You guys are awesome.